this is TJ. Welcome back to part 8. Now in this tutorial, what we're going to do is actually going to start creating things that are actually going to hurt the player. Right here I have the same model I've used twice, and in here I have a laser caster, which is the model. I have a particle system, which, if you can see, brings off little balls. Particle light, which is the actual laser, and then a point light to add a bit of red inside here, like a light red. Now on the other side, which I made a prefab, I've got the laser caster like I had normal, a particle system which is exactly the same particle system as I had in over here, and I have a light. This one does not contain the laser. Now I've also got down here laser damage. I've not added this to any prefabs I've created, however I've just added it in the level. This is because this one here is a separate entity. I might have a longer laser, so I need a longer laser beam. But what you can do is you can easily just grab it and drag it in here, and that's this prefab all updated. Now what happens when I click play? Now standing this laser, you notice my health is going down, and I've got a message here saying something is happening. And if it goes to 0, nothing happens because I've not programmed it in yet. And this takes off health from a value of 10 to 25 randomly. So it can take off 10, 11, 12, all the way up to 25 randomly every second. Maybe a bit overkill, but you can, in this tutorial, you'll be able to change it anyway. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to completely regret what I'm just going to do right now and delete everything. And then I'm going to go into my prefabs down here, models, prefabs, lab light, laser end and laser start. I'm going to delete those. And I'm going to go into my script, and I'm going to delete my laser script. So now, from the fact I've got a lovely hole in my level, I now have nothing. I do, on the other hand, have a texture which is red. This is the texture I'm going to be using for the actual caster. Now what I need to do is I need to go into my computer. Wait, never mind. I've imported the laser caster anyway. So what I need to do is drag this into the level, rotate it how I want, snap it to a grid, there we go, then hold control so it still snaps to the same grid, and then drag it where I want it. Now this over here, I'm going to add a component, physics box collider, and then since you've got my laser caster up here, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to drag the red texture on top of that, so now it's red. Now I've got that set up, I can then duplicate this, drag it out of the way, and rotate it for the other side. And remember to snap all the axes, and then you go. That's our laser caster done, that's the model done. Now what we need to do is just choose one of these to have the actual laser. So this one here, I'm going to choose, same as I did last time. I don't know why level's open, shouldn't be open. Right, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a game object, create light, point light, and I'm going to snap this to an axis, and I'm going to drag it in. And then I'm gonna move it out to about here, and then the colour here I'm going to change to red, and as you can see that looks a bit too bright. So what I'm going to do is the range I'm going to drag down a bit until you get the one you want. So yeah, that looks about right. And then I'm going to say yes, I'm going to make it cast shadows. It is real-time baking, Intensity you can drag up if you want, which I'm going to do. That way it's a really bright light. 5 should be good. Wait, 5? Yeah, 5's good. It's not a solid number. With that done, I can then duplicate that and drag it over to the other side. And then drag it in a bit, just so they kind of match. I'm using the light here, the thickness, just to gauge where the light is on each of these. Now the light here doesn't really matter if it's snapped to a grid. I'll be showing what I mean in a short while. Now that's where the light's done. We need a particle system. So if you click Game Object, Particle System, you've got a nice big one here. I'm going to use this default one. However, what I am going to do is I'm going to click on this scale tool up here, click the center and shrink it to about there. And then I can also shrink it like that if you so desire. But and then you rotate that, and then you snap it, and then you drag it in. So it looks like that. So this doesn't come out far enough for me, so what I am going to do is I'm going to scale that a bit more, and then I might drag that out a little bit more. And then what I want to do is start color here, turn to red, and then you got play on awake here, and then tick pre-warm. This basically means that when the level starts, this is already going to be on. If you untick this, which I'll demonstrate now, as you can see, no particle systems just yet, but now you can slowly see them coming out. But if you tick the pre-warm and then go into level, they're already there. However, I'm still not happy with that. I'm going to scale it some more. Much better. And then what I want to do is I want to duplicate this again, drag it out. It did duplicate, didn't it? No, it didn't. Duplicate this, drag it out, then hold control and rotate it, and then plonk it in, snap the axis, and then plonk it in. Just making sure that this particle system is, yep, and this particle system is, yeah, they're both snapped to the back. Now with this done, we need to start working on another particle system. And the next particle system we're going to be adding, if I select this one, this line here, if I create a particle system right here, and then what I want to do is I want to have the start color as red again, and then I also want to have it on straight away, so I can tick the pre-warm. And then shape, I want to have it as a mesh, so you see it's doing a straight line at the moment. And if I rotate that, this is way too long, you can see it going from a level, way too long. So what you want to do is you want to drag that in, snap the axis so it's perfectly centered, drag it to there, and then what you can do is you can use the scale tool here, click on this side here and shrink it so it goes inside here. Now with that inside there, you can see it's quite a thick laser. We don't actually need, if you have click on emission, you don't actually need a rate of 10. If you use a rate of, say, if you click 4, you see this, 5, 45 is, well, that's a very powerful laser, but it will slow down your system quite rapidly. So if I click 6, that's 7 seems to be a nice healthy medium. You can see it moving. Seems to be good. Now, since shrinking it, we do need to make it thicker to make it more rounded. And then we can shrink in the middle a bit more. Extend it a little bit. Oh, go back a couple of times because I believe I messed that up a bit. There you go. As you can see, you can actually see the little bits. What I want to do is I want to extend it up a little bit. And then you can say 6. No, 6 is too much. 5 is too much. 4 is a bit too much. If I use 2, 1. Now if we load up the game, let's see what it looks like. I might want to add a bit more thickness to this laser, so I'm actually going to add a 5 on here. There, looks like a laser now. It does nothing when you walk through it. But it's there. Now what I need to do is create the game object, 3D object, then create a cylinder. This cylinder here we can use quite good actually. The amount of faces it has, you don't actually need that many faces, but we were not going to actually render the faces, we're just going to render the mesh. So you can disable the mesh renderer and remove the component if you really want. Rotate this, snap it the axis, drag it into the laser, and then we can shrink it down. Now we're going to make that a little bit bigger, and then we can scale that like that. Make sure you still have the capsule collider on here though. Yeah, it looks a bit way too big. It's hard to gauge because the light is so in your face. If you look at the side, it looks quite big, but if you look at the top, yeah, I think my particle system is not thick enough. And if I drag that in, there we go. Starting to look like a laser. We got a cylinder. Yeah, my cylinder's definitely too big. So if I shrink that down, and then I drag it off, there we go. Yeah. One more, there we go. So it goes inside. Now that done like that, we need to create a script. Now in my coin collector I'm gonna delete this, and I'm gonna delete up here because we're gonna do all this ourselves. Now what we're gonna do is we need to do a script. Just create a script, C# script, call it laser if you want. Laser damage, why not? And then open it up. And you actually don't need any of this. Now do void on trigger stay. And then you need to, since we've already got this C# messenger extended already in here, we can do messenger dot broadcast and then laser hurt, let's call it laser hurt, and then that's all done. This is literally all you have to have in this script right here. Now if you go into player HUD, do it underneath the update, void on enable. Now here, capital O and then a capital E as well. Now what you need to do is type in messenger, whoop, that isn't it, dot add listener, and then you can do laser hurt, and after that what's it going to be? I'm going to do laser damage. Laser damage. Now it's going to come up as an error so far. That's fine. We need to create this here. So underneath, right at the bottom, we're just going to create a public void laser damage. Now if I scroll up to the top here, it now works fine. Now if I put in here underscore current health minus equals random dot range, then open and close brackets, and I'm going to do it 1025 just like I had before. Then I'm going to times that by time dot delta time. What this basically is it's going to take random.random range int is obsolete. Use random.range instead. That's oh, I did a mistake. Random.range. There we go. What this basically means is it's going to choose a number from 10 to 25 that's going to feed back and take your health off by that much. This time spot delta time is every single second in engine it's going to take health away. So the longer you're in the laser, the more and more health you lose, because you lose health randomly over time if you're still in the laser. Now if you save that off and you go back to your project, you need to select your cylinder and then tick is trigger up here in the capsule collider. If you click play and you run into the laser, if all goes well, all's not going well. All is not going well. Oh yeah, cylinder needs the script on it. That'd help. Now if you go into laser, you're losing health. Now what we need to do is this cylinder here, particle system 2, laser caster, point light, is cylinder, particle system 2, particle system, point light, laser caster, point light, particle system 2, cylinder. All this selected is what we're going to create a prefab on. So if I say game object, create empty, and then where is that lovely game object? There it is. If I snap all axis, drag up, if I drag it there, that's fine. Call that laser start. And if I do my laser caster, point light, particle system, that and that. There we go. And I drag all that in my laser start. And the caster up here, I believe there's a caster up here. Yes it is. Now what I need to do is create another empty game object. Snap that to axis. Drag it over, whoops. Drag it over 1. Drag it back 3, I think I need it. Yeah, so it's at the back middle. Then rename that. Oh, I didn't mean to do that. I need to rename it. Laser end. Then particle system, drag it to laser end. And then up top here, laser caster up here. Drag it all the way down to the bottom. Big level. Laser end. Now you got laser end here, which if you click the game object you made and you move it around, yep, that's the correct one. And if you click one of these, it will show laser start, and you can drag that around. Now as a test, you might want to, in your models over here, prefabs, right click prefabs, create, and then let's create a prefab laser start, and then another prefab laser end. Now laser end, drag onto there, laser start, drag onto there. Now what we do is we drag one of these into the level, which since I was in a wall it did that. If I click snap all axis on that, then I move it again, and then I can arrange it, see it arranges perfectly to the grid, exactly where I want it. Right. There we go. Turn on my level a bit. Right. I've been T-Junkie, and this has been part 8. In part 9, we'll work on what happens when your health is 0. You die when this happens. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a camera in the level, say looking over here, say it's deactivated. And what's going to happen is when you die, it activates this camera here and destroys your character. That way we have some sort of death on here. And then we can just add some menus, something here, so you can click respawn and it starts the level over again. Thank you for watching, and I shall see you next time.